Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
And like that, another controversy. 16-year-old, black, female, Ma'Khia Bryant, killed by a white officer. Video of it. Now what? Where do we go from here? Because if you listen to the news, certain establishment media, this is totally done by race. He was hunting. If you listen to some right-wing crazy people out there, I'm not talking about just, some right-wing, I'm just some crazies out there. This was a situation where it's exactly what should have happened. But the reality is we live in a world that's much different, a little grayer area, if you will. Did the cop do something wrong? I don't know. At this point, if I'm a cop, I wouldn't even know what to do. I wouldn't. You show up, get a phone call. She was the one that called. Maybe, because there's disputing on who called what. The cop rolls up in Columbus, Ohio, as he's getting out of his vehicle. Now, mind you, he was the one called. Right? They called 911. As he's getting out of his vehicle, there is a fight in the front yard. One woman's falling to the ground, and then she gets kicked by a 43-year-old man. Another woman backing up, and there's a driveway, and in the driveway is a vehicle, and her back is essentially hitting the vehicle when another woman, Ma'Khia Bryant, is heading towards her with a knife. As long as it took me to describe that, that was about 5 times longer than how fast it went. The officer shot and killed her. That's it. She wasn't going over there with the knife to say, would you like me to butter your bread? She wasn't going over there saying, do you like thin slices? No, she wasn't. The narrative is he shot her because she was black. That's the narrative. Not because she was going to stab another human being, but because she was black.
Suppose you pulled the gun out and the gun had jammed. Would you just stood there? Or would you have gone over there, closed the distance, and done something? Law enforcement around the world, they don't have guns in the first place. Now, in our country, we got an armed citizenry. You have to have an armed police force. I understand that. But just understand that if you're in the UK, somebody has a knife, you're trained to get the knife away from them without shooting them. They come at you with a stick, a bottle. Our officers are trained mainly on weapons because that's where we are at.
Police in England carry guns. The bobbies you see in the street do not. But there are guns. I lived there on and off for a decade. Oh, yeah. And they're special units. Because you see, during the 70s and 80s, there was a group called the IRA. And they did a lot of different things, bombings and whatnot. And trust me, there were guns. And you would see, you get to the airport. I remember arriving the first time I went to England. I remember arriving at the airport and thinking to myself, oh, my God. These guys are loaded for bear, and these aren't police officers. Guys standing there in fatigues. Ooh. In a world, it'd be great, right? If nobody had guns. Wouldn't that be great? Just except for the occasional shotgun, rifle, just for hunting purposes or sport, but nothing else. Wouldn't that be great? And unicorns, and it's not what we live in. It isn't. It's not what we live in. We're not giving up our guns, nor should we. damn Skippy. She had a knife. Could he have done something else? Look, hindsight being what it is, welcome to Monday Morning Quarterback. I'm going to take you back a few years. Ball's on the 1 yard line. Marshawn Lynch is arguably the best running back in the NFL. Few seconds left in the game. Seahawks decide to pass the ball. In which case, Malcolm Butler steps in because he had seen the play over and over on tape. Picks it off. Patriots win. Hindsight being what it was in that split second, you think maybe they should hand it off now? That's why they call it Monday Morning Quarterback. Race had nothing to do with this. A split-second decision. We're asking officers to be perfect. The neighbors? Because there's several views of it now. The neighbors say, well, you know what? If he wasn't there, she may have killed more. I don't know her story. I know she was in foster care. She was at her aunt's house. Why is she fighting with two 20-something-year-old women? Why is a 43-year-old man kicking another woman who'd fallen to the floor in the head? And there's all of these things we're going to find out in the coming days, weeks, and months. Why don't they have less lethal? We can ask those questions. This is where what he did, he was trained to do. Now, if you want to change the training, which is what we should be looking at, how to modernize, that's fine. But there are also going to be certain instances as why you're trying to modernize stuff and make stuff feel like it's better. The people that you're trying to make everything feel better for, the media and other people, the criminals, people that want to do bad things, even people for who maybe an instant are running blood red hot and ready to do something, they don't care.
We need to invest in non-police or other community-trained, unarmed crisis response. I can't help but think what would happen if we had social workers present, if we had community-based interventionists present. Now, currently in Columbus, Ohio, we do have a mobile crisis response team, and that's where a mental health specialist is paired with an officer and shows up on scene. And they are able to diffuse some of those situations when residents are in the midst of a crisis.
She would have had to been there earlier. When it escalates to that point, he didn't show up 20 minutes earlier and was trying to defuse something. The fuse had been lit. The bomb had exploded. It had already happened. That's it. It had already happened. If he doesn't act and she gets stabbed and potentially dies, he's an awful human being for not doing his job. He acts, and he's what? It's an awful person for doing his job, according to some people. LeBron James, asshat. Be honest with you guys. What he tweeted the other day, then took down, if you guys haven't seen, was just "you're next," with the picture of the guy and he had like one of those sand hourglasses. What's that say to you? We're not interested in anything other than the insanity. Did anybody want this girl to die? No. Nobody wanted this woman, this young lady to die. Nobody did. But did you want the other lady to get stabbed? Well, no, I didn't want that. Well, where's the crisis intervention? You guys have it. Why weren't they there already? What are you going to say? Guys, everybody calm down. I would have shot in the air. Okay, where's the bullet go? Does this guy have a special catcher? What goes up must come down. You could have fired a warning shot. All of these things, you're sitting there. Look, retrain. Give them some other options. But in a split second, your reaction and muscle memory are going to go to the things that you know. That's it. Watch sports. It's muscle memory. I've been trained to do this. Even if somebody's hitting me, even if somebody's trying to tackle me, even if somebody's trying to do something to me, I've been trained to do this. My muscle memory will act in a certain time, and I will do the thing I need to do. If you want to retrain, that's fine. Not everything's about race. The cop should have learned before. No, you know what? How about once again, we're talking about the police officer. We're not talking about a 16-year-old who had a knife, was in a fight. She was defending herself. You knocked one down, the other one was taken off and pinned down, and you had a knife in your hand. How was he supposed to know who, what, when, how, and why? Tell me. Nobody's wearing name tags. These weren't uniforms. Can we modernize police? Yes. Can we get more resources in communities? Yes. But there are going to be some cases, no matter how well you do, that either people are really, really bad, or people for a split second are choosing to do something, and an officer has to make a choice. Here's the other thing. What happens when you send one of these counselors out and they're like, the counselor's dead? Well, we can't do that now. People are always looking for something. The division is there. And right now it's heated up, and the media is loving it because there's stuff to talk about. And it's always about race. And we're going to talk about this throughout the show. We are. We're going to talk about this throughout the show. And yesterday I had a pretty deep and interesting conversation with a few of the news ladies that work here. And a few of them are girls. They're early 20s. One of them, Deborah, my friend, she's, all of my friends, she's older. And it's pretty funny, the reaction. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. A lot of stuff to get to today as well. Big stuff. What is going to happen with Chauvin? Because I think a lot of people are trying to figure out now as we head towards it. They're starting to hear through the rumblings that this may not be the 40 years plus. This may not be all of those things that people are wanting. Is this the next thing that is going to upset people if he doesn't get 40 plus years? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, plus the greatest, stupidest thing ever. At least once a month, we have to talk about a gender reveal gone wrong. This one, how should we say, was very explosive. I thought we weren't supposed to have genders anymore. I thought that was the whole thing. The gender reveal should be, there's going to be no gender. Rough Greens, best thing I've ever done for my dog Doodle. Love it. Give it to him every single day. Sprinkle it on his food. It's K9 Vitasmart. It's got vitamins, minerals, all these amazing things. You just take it and you just sprinkle it on there. They love it. Tastes great. It's got omega-3, 6, 9. It's got all of this stuff. What it does is it brings the dog's food to life. Helps out with the nutrients that their food's just missing, because their food's meant to be on a shelf or in a can for a long period of time rather than fresh. This makes it so it's like that. And with all of the things in there, the omega-3, 6, 9, the probiotics, the stuff it does for the digestive system, for their coats, for their joints is amazing. Right now, Rough Greens wants you to try it before you buy it. It is simple and easy. You pay for the shipping, they're going to send you a bag free. You pay shipping, bag free. Let's go over this again. Cost you nothing but shipping. Bag comes to you for free. It's K9 Vitasmart from Rough Greens. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MY-DOG-77, 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Hashtag me too. Hashtag immigration reforms. Hashtag help. I'm trapped in a hashtag factory and I can't get out. The Chad Benson Show.
I think we're headed down. I think that things are improving around the country. We're seeing cases start to decline. I think they'll start to collapse as we get into the later this month and certainly into May. You'll start to see a real sharp downward trajectory. There's a couple of states that are trending up a little bit or have reached a plateau and haven't really started to see the decline. But most of the states are seeing declines. Even Michigan right now, which is having a very dense epidemic, you're starting to see declines in Michigan. So now hopefully we can hold on to that. I think we will. I really don't see anything coming on the horizon that can alter that trajectory right now.
Scott Gottlieb, doctor right there. That's positive news. We'll tell you about positive news. That's positive news. That right there is positive news. There was that doctor that everybody laughed at from Johns Hopkins. Was it Makary? Dr. Makary, I think? He's like, April, May, we're going to hit that herd immunity level, and you're going to see this thing really. It's April. Things are coming down. A lot of places are open. I had dinner last night with one of my producers from my other show. He and I, we went out, got a bite to eat. Restaurant was packed. It's nice. It felt like, hey, you would not know there's anything going on. You would not know there was any pandemic or anything going on outside of the servers wearing masks. No, you wouldn't have known. Feels like, as much as you can get a handle on some nature, we're getting there. What about the variants?
Even the variants that we're seeing, while some of the variants that we're concerned about are gaining prevalence in the United States, like P1, it's not enough right now to really change the trajectory for the summer. I think there'll be a risk perhaps to the fall, but I think the summer's pretty much locked in at this point.
Yeah, more and more people are going to be vaccinated. I think the summer, I think we're going to be fine. And then, of course, you've got Johnson & Johnson. What's going to happen is today the day. Are they going to unpause it? Are they not going to pause it? I think a lot of people are trying to figure out exactly how this thing plays out.
The health officials here who are making this decision today are in a tough spot, trying to put safety first, but at the same time, trying not to scare Americans away from using these vaccines.
But what is the risk when it comes to Johnson & Johnson? That's very interesting because you look at it, and here's Dr. Francis Collin. What's the risk?
This is a 1 in a million kind of risk that has been identified of this rare blood clotting problem.
1 in a million. Okay, 1 in a million. I think most people would take that risk, right? Wouldn't most people? Probably. We'll see. And here's the interesting thing. If Johnson & Johnson was the only thing on the market, you think they would have shut it down? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We shouldn't live in a country, quite frankly, where it's acceptable for the police to shoot a 16-year-old 4 times in the chest over a fight. It goes from 0 to execution very, very quickly when there is a black or brown person involved. That is just the truth.
Is it the truth? So again, you know, the frustration of this. Nobody wants to see a young woman, young lady, she's 16, get gunned down. Nobody does. Does it go to 0 to? No, we're focusing on it. We are. We're focusing on the fact, you're focusing on the color of her skin. Well, it's because it happens. If this was a white girl yesterday, nobody'd give a rat's ass. They wouldn't. They wouldn't. Sonny hosted on The View. Of course it's about race. No, it was about a knife. It was about an incident that escalated because apparently the 2 older girls also used to be in foster care with this lady. And it started over the house being a mess. Mom doesn't like the house a mess. And as producer Phil said, good. Nobody should like a house that's a mess. Apparently they fought all the time, bickered all the time, got out of control. Got out of control. This isn't about color. This is about an action of somebody who decided to pick up a knife because all they could see for whatever reason was red. If you don't know what that saying is, think about a bull. The whole thought process is seeing the red. When they're coming at the matador. And he's got the red. Ole, ole. We don't know. I don't know what to say when it comes to not like everything is going to be read into this is about race, because that's the thing. It's on everybody's mind right now. You have the Derek Chauvin trial. You add what took place with Dante Wright. Look, I think a lot of us, like with the Adam Toledo incident that took place in Chicago, the 13-year-old, that kind of didn't have the same steam. And part of the reasons why is because he's apparently, trying to, according to several reports, potentially trying to get into a gang, hanging out with a 21-year-old, apparently is it a gang, 2:30 in the morning, firing guns off in was it a rural area? No. Middle of a city. It's dark. There's an alley. There's a gun. Could we do more? Yes, of course we can. Why didn't you just shoot her in the leg? Because why? Because he's Wild Bill Hickok and he has that kind of shot. Or somebody said that, somebody asked the chief, why doesn't he shoot her in the leg? And you're thinking to yourself, aim big, hit big, aim small, miss small. Could he have done something? Well, the precision. I'm like, he's not a sniper that has time to, you're trying to put all of this into what if he did this? What if he did that? What if he did nothing? What if he just sat back and just let him go at it and whatever happened, happened? Well, that might have been better. It might have been. The other girl could have died. And then she would go to jail forever and the other girl would have died. What's the other girl think? She's probably upset that her step foster sibling or whatever may have been killed. But you know what? People across the street are like, yeah, what's he supposed to do? I don't know. Change the laws then. Change their training. So you're not allowed to shoot unless you're shot at first. If somebody comes at you with a knife or goes at another person with a knife, give them a knife. I don't know what to say. Well, why? Somebody said, well, why are white police policing black people? At this point, okay, fine. We're not asking the question of how did we get here? Not how did the police officer get here? How did we get to the point where he was called in the first place? How to get to the point where she's fighting two 20-something-year-olds and has a knife? Anyone? Can we not ask that question? Is it a question that nobody wants to talk about? Well, look, I'm just saying, hey, if we're going to ask people like police officers, not only do you need to change, everything about you guys needs to change. We need to have different kinds of people coming out to all of these things. So we need more counselors, more mental health workers, and they should be the first ones there. And then after they've calmed the system down or have been killed, then the police can move in.
She was 16 years old in foster care. Yes, she was wielding a knife, but there were other girls also allegedly attacking her. So was de-escalation a possibility here in this case? Not with this black girl, not at all.
By the way, your age, so let's just say she stabs the girl and the girl dies. But we tell her, hey, we know you're dead, but she's only 16, so you only have a 16-year-old death. There's no good answer that's going to make some people who already look at cops as evil. There isn't. I'm sure he would wish he had other opportunities to do something, because shot her in the leg. Yesterday, people were talking about, like, well, they could have shot her in the leg. You know, like I said, like the old Westerns. Yeah, like they used to do those stuff. I said, none of that stuff ever really happened. So I got news for you. I said, more often than not, none of that stuff ever happened. They were all drunk shooting. They misfired more often than not. So none of that stuff. I mean, yeah, are there and the sharpshooters you hear about, they're not shooting at human beings in a moment by moment second. Now, if you want to give them a different weapon that shoots rubber bullets, what about her taser? Tasers work within a certain amount of space. She's further away. And again, muscle memory. A lot of different things. We can go on and on. And this is a story right now, and the media is loving every second of it. Oh, that's not fair. They are. They are. They love the fact that there's something to talk about. Coronavirus, I think a lot of people have just punted on that. And when it comes to this is something else that they can get behind, because a lot of the other stuff out there it doesn't get people excited. And by that, I mean emotionally worked up, angry, wanting to know more, wanting to continue to get involved, whether they're talking about it on social media or with their friends. They want that emotional side of things. So, and this is it. This is right here. It's a tragedy, no doubt. It's awful, absolutely. But was it criminal? And was it racist? They'll do an investigation, but I think they realize. And here's the sad thing. I think a lot of people who are doing these investigations, these cities, are now feeling the responsibility of, you know what, we better charge them with something or else. So mob rule? Wow. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. All that being said, yesterday was Earth Day, and as you all know,
you will still get away with continuing to contribute to the destruction of present and future living conditions. How long do you honestly believe that people in power like you will get away with it? You get away with it now, but sooner or later people are going to realize what you have been doing all this time. We, the young people, are the ones who are going to write about you in the history books. We are the ones who get to decide how you will be remembered. So my advice for you is to choose wisely.
Wow. Producer Phil, does that feel like a threat?
You know, in this day and age, anything can be perceived a threat.
Yeah, that feels a little threat. And by the way, you're going to write whatever you want to write now. You guys are rewriting history now, the young people. History they don't like, you get rid of. History that was history, you damn. I mean, there's just, she is never like, do you ever smile? Is there ever any happiness? Do you ever have a day where you're like, you know what, today I don't want to talk about climate. Today I just want to go for a walk, meet my friends, have fun, see a movie, maybe go on a date? I don't know. Do you ever do that? Apparently not. You're 18. Like I said yesterday, I love Greta Thunberg's passion. I think it's awesome. And I think it really is. What I don't like, first of all, that is a little bit much. But the media's, the way that, you know, we posted something, it was like last year about her. I think it was when she got nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. We posted a picture of her. And a headline from the New York Times, by the way. And they flagged us and suspended us. And then we appealed, and they're like, oh, yeah, you guys didn't write this. This was the New York Times. We're sorry. Every time we see a picture of Greta, we just assume people are being mean. I'm like, I didn't nominate her, but you guys are feeling the need to get mad. Climate change is important. We should talk about it. There's a lot of things that we should be able to talk about, but much like everything else, it's hard because what gets involved is the politics, and the politics override everything. And in overriding everything, what do we get? We get arguments and fights. But you shouldn't be yelling at people. You guys, you're going to rewrite history. You guys are going to be evil and bad. I'm sure you are. 323-538-2423. 2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. My Pillow has my slippers. So here are the my slippers, right? So you've got two different kinds to choose from. So you have the moccasin style and you have slip-on. Faux fur, suede on the outside. There's like suede style. It's amazing. And then you've got the soles and the inserts, right? So it's not just some cheap, you just wear them in the house kind of things. We're talking about 3 layers. First, it starts with the My Pillow patented fill, right? So you got that. Secondly, you've got the beautiful, amazing, soft, comfort forming. And then from there, you've got the gel. Ooh. And this stuff is made from soybeans, made right here in the USA, 100%. You wear them indoor, outdoor, wear them all day long. Comfort after I work out, after I play soccer. Sometimes I'll go hit golf balls and I'll work out really hard to come back, and the rest of the day I don't put my shoes on. I just have my slippers on as I wander around the office. They are that comfortable. Wear them all day. 40% off, year, limited warranty, and 60-day money-back guarantee. Put them to the test. You're going to love them. Get them now, mypillow.com, mypillow.com. Go there. Use code Benson, mypillow.com, promo code Benson, 40% off. Check out all the amazing deals on all their other products, from My Pillows to the mattress toppers to towels and everything in between. mypillow.com, promo code Benson, 40% off on the My Slippers Chad Benson Show.
Be boys, give me a bowl of chili with plenty of peppers.
One Mexican heartburn. Why don't you mugs grow up?
The Chad Benson Show, where independent, a la carte thinkers have a seat at the table and a voice in the dialogue.
I'll have what she's having.
This is Chad Benson.
Best known for the song The Humpty Dance, Digital Underground rapper Shock G has died. Real name Gregory Jacobs, Shock G was the leader of Digital Underground, the group that launched the then unknown rapper by the name of Tupac Shakur. The Humpty Dance would reach number 11 on the Billboard singles chart. The album it was on, Sex Packets, Digital Underground's highest charting album, hitting number 24. Jacobs went on to produce music with Prince, Tupac, and Dr. Dre. Shock G was 57.
57. And that song, found out last night, not going to lie, flipped on the video, and the guy was a character.
I'm a freak. I like the girls with the boom. I once got busy in a bathroom. I'm crazy. Allow me to amaze thee. They say I'm ugly, but it just don't faze me. I'm still getting in the and I even got my own dance. The Humpty Dance is your chance to do the hump. Come on.
And he loved dressing up. Like Humpty was a character. Piano Man, Rackadelic, MC Blowfish, Gregory Racker, Icy Mike, Michael Boston, E7L, Peanut, Hakeem, Hanafu, Washington, Shaquem, Bocage, V, Dat Jit, got a dolphin nose, some of his names. But he was, it was interesting. Died in his house at 57. They said in foul play. Maybe had heart issues. You don't know in a situation like that. Did a lot of stuff. But I remember that. And I remember him being on Arsenio. And I just remember that. So, yeah, I called you fat. Because I'm thin. I just thought, you can't say that today. You can't say that. He just did. Yeah, I called you fat. It's not very nice, Chad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Now, Axios is reporting, and several other sources are reporting, that Governor Newsom's, one of the challengers, will be somebody kind of famous. Caitlyn Jenner. Filed paperwork, has got some serious people on board to help assemble a team. Going to run socially liberal, fiscally conservative. Interesting. I think she'd have a chance. I really do. I think she'd absolutely have a chance. 100%. 100%. And then the only thing I can think of is, man, South Park got that right. Because, Mr. Garrison and Caitlyn were president of the United States. It's a possibility. And that if you're going to find any conservativeness in California, you have to have a way. You have to figure out a way to maneuver. And one of the ways you maneuver is socially liberal without being insane, right? Like socially liberal is like, you know what? Marriage equality, choice, marijuana. But not insane where like we need to have math equity. Well, what's that mean? Well, that you kind of get to make up your own math because no, that's not something I think we should be doing, which is what they're trying to do. Places that's silly. You can be socially liberal, progressive, whatever it is, and fiscally conservative. That's how any kind of person centerish in California, which is right to everybody else, has a chance of winning. I'll tell you this, I'd vote for her well over Gavin Newsom. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Suppose you pulled the gun out and the gun had jammed. Would you just stood there? Or would you have gone over there, closed the distance, and done something? Law enforcement around the world, they don't have guns in the first place. Now, in our country, we got an armed citizenry. You have to have an armed police force. I understand that. But just understand that if you're in the UK, somebody has a knife, you're trained to get the knife away from them without shooting them. They come at you with a stick, a bottle. Our officers are trained mainly on weapons because that's where we are at.
Yeah. That's where we're at. That's where we are at. What if law enforcement didn't have guns? Well, you don't have a choice, right? It's just you don't have a choice. Because our citizenry has guns. That's our right, protected by the Constitution. 16-year-old girl was shot and killed because during a fight with her two stepsisters, apparently, over the cleaning of the house or the not having the house cleaned, it escalated to violence to a point where she had a knife. Let's imagine a world where puppy dogs and unicorns get to decide the fate of people. We'd all love that. I joke, but the reality is we don't live in that world. We live here. This is where we live. This is what we have. This is what it is. What took place the other day and with Ma'Khia Bryant being shot was awful. The actions of the police officer, I don't think he had any choice. We're not talking about him protecting the other person who was going to get stabbed. We're talking about the death of Ma'Khia Bryant. That's what we're talking about. You talk about, that's the funny thing, the way that media, Chad, you're media. Yeah, I'm media, but here's the thing. There's a difference between media and the establishment media that passes things on as we're not activists or opinion people. We're news, and that's what we do. That's not, I'm not news. And by the way, I'm probably more biased and give you more of the truth than any of them do. Because they only are giving you the affirmation side and not the information side. So, did he save somebody from being stabbed and potentially killed? Or did he kill somebody needlessly because she was black?
We shouldn't live in a country, quite frankly, where it's acceptable for the police to shoot a 16-year-old 4 times in the chest over a fight. It goes from 0 to execution very, very quickly when there is a black or brown person involved. That is just the truth.
That is just the truth. Goes from 0 to whatever. All these people who don't have, places don't have firearms and they have other things. We could sit here and debate this all day. This was a tragic incident. We need to talk about everything. Was the officer trained to do that? Was the officer trained to go there and to... Now, everybody wants, it's always about de-escalation. How do we de-escalate? Well, to de-escalate something, you have to stop it from being escalated to the point where violence is used, right? You try to defuse a bomb. Here's the thing. The bomb had exploded. There's no retro diffusing of the bomb. It had exploded. So then what? I'm curious.
She was 16 years old,
has
in
nothing
foster
to do with
care. Yes, she was yielding a knife, but there were other girls also allegedly attacking her. So was de-escalation a possibility here in this case? Not with this black girl, not at all.
Okay, not at all. Just with this black girl. What if it was a white girl and she was 15? Would it have mattered? By the way, whether the person's 16 or 616, if they're stabbing you, there's not a different level of it. It's just not. And that's what we have. We have chaos and craziness now. We have people who are fighting and arguing. We have people who are saying, well, hey, let me tell you something. This is how bad. This is what we need to do now. Like this is absolutely what we need to do. This is wrong, period, case closed, 100%. So we need a new way of policing. I am fine. Let's talk about a new way of policing. Let's talk also about a new way of people changing, where violence isn't their first option. Right? Where confrontation isn't their first option. Where we look and say, yes, we can modernize policing and do some things that we think are going to help. At the same time, we need to look at society and say, everybody's got to do their part. We're asking the police, you guys have a full makeover. You fully make over everything. And if we are violent, you conform to how this works. Well, no, that's silly. We can't do that. Columbus, Ohio councilwoman.
We need to invest in non-police or other community-trained, unarmed crisis response. I can't help but think what would happen if we had social workers present, if we had community-based interventionists present. Now, currently in Columbus, Ohio, we do have a mobile crisis response team, and that's where a mental health specialist is paired with an officer and shows up on scene. And they are able to diffuse some of those situations when residents are in the midst of a crisis.
Okay, so they have that. Let's just say they had one of those on this scene. He's pulling up. I'm going to walk you through it. Ready? And then we're going to go to the action. He's pulling up right now. A woman is coming out. Another woman is chasing her. The fight ensues. One woman falls to the ground. Then... Okay, you've got 8.5 seconds, council person there, for your counselor to fix the situation. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Knife. Here it is. There she goes. Okay. But you didn't defuse anything. You're not going to do it in 11 seconds. I totally agree. There should be more of that. But as the police will tell you, while they have counselors and they're doing that, and more they're rolling that. What do you think happens first, especially in domestic abuse, which police will always tell you most dangerous thing they do? Do you think they go in, hey, we're going to send you in first to de-escalate something? What if they have a gun or a knife? That's not art. You should go in there and talk them out of it. No, you're not going to do that. Because what's going to end up happening is one or two of them are going to get killed, or something bad's going to happen to more than a few, and they're going to say, well, this is just this can't work. It'd have been great to have somebody there an hour before, 30 minutes before, 5-10 minutes before, trying to de-escalate. There wasn't time. Then what? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. I think it's a fair question to ask. All of it sounds great as far as some of the new policing. Do we need to outfit them with different things that maybe they can use? Yes, once again, all of those things should be in play. But there are going to be certain situations where you're making a choice, and that choice is going to be within 10 seconds of potentially somebody else getting killed or harmed. And no matter how many people you have who are going to be there to potentially help with the mental health crisis, whatever it is, they're not going to be able to do anything because there won't be the time. Question is, do we just forego those times and allow whatever happens to happen? Because I'll tell you what, the minute a cop rolls up like yesterday, and rather than do something that he was trained to do, if you want to change the training, we should all look at those. Let's say she stabs a few times, lady seriously injured, dies. Whose fault's that? It's the police officer's fault. Well, you didn't do what you're supposed to do. So you mean to tell me no matter what the situation is, you're always going to be losing? Yeah. Have fun in that profession. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. We're going to talk also about LeBron James, what he tweeted. Then he tried to walk it back. And once again, we're in a situation where the fighting that's going on and the conversations we're having aren't the conversations that are going to fix anything. They're just the conversations that are going to divide us. And that doesn't get us to the places we need to be if we're going to get through a lot of these things, which in the overall scheme of things, when you look at the entirety of the 300+ million people that are here, are minute. But if you watch news all day, it's the only thing that ever happens. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Plus, we're talking about Caitlyn Jenner. Could Caitlyn Jenner be the next governor of California? Because Caitlyn Jenner has indeed announced a run to be the governor of California. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text. Love hearing from each and every single one of you. Home title lock. We talk about crimes. You know, we talk about ransomware. Like, people don't really, they think, oh, that's just something that gets on your computer. What ransomware is they send you a phishing email. Somebody clicks on it. They get a virus in there. They take over the data of hospitals. They take over the data of every, thing, that they get their virus into. And then they start to hold your place hostage. So hospitals will go and say, all right, here, we want $100,000. All right, you give them $100,000. Why? Because it's just cheaper. Easier to get them to go away. Home Title Lock is here to protect your home. Because you see, with your home, it's simpler and easier to do. So much equity in people's houses right now. There's money sitting out there. This is the fastest growing compared to cyber crimes. When you look at this, like identity theft, this is growing so much faster. Why? Because it's months before you learn that somebody's stolen your house right out from underneath you by quit claiming the deed to themselves by forging paperwork on stuff that is public record, your deed and everything. Oh. And they start taking out loans. Next thing you know, you're upside down in your house. You had no idea how it happened. Or you may even lose your home. It's costing you tens of thousands of dollars. Your future, your money, gone. Home Title Lock will alert you to anything that goes on. It's simple and easy. You go to HometitleLock.com. Use code radio. You're going to get 30 days free protection. You can put your address in, see if anything's happened, if anybody's snooped around. It's HometitleLock.com. Promo code radio. Get 30 days free protection right now. HometitleLock.com. Promo code radio. Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
Oh, kids, I'm just looking. It's official. It's official.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Caitlyn Jenner on Twitter has made it official. Running for governor of the great state of California. We're going to talk about that. What she released in her statement. Caitlyn for California. Go to CaitlynJenner.com. And would I vote for her? Ooh. Talk about that. Some other things trending on Twitter. Columbus Police Department. Apparently, since 2013, they are the second place in killing black children. Killed 5. So, and they were all black. And 5 children. They were all black. No details on any of those things after the shooting of Ma'Khia Bryant. But they want to know that's what they do there. That's their thing. Apparently it's like, you want a kid to shoot kids, this is the place to do it. I just sit there and I'm like, are you trying to make us more divided? And it's one thing to give everybody the opportunity to look at certain things. The problem is nobody ever puts anything in context anymore. Like if I said they killed 5 kids or people under the age of 18. They killed 5 kids, right? So you're in your mind, it's like, oh, kids skipping down the street or at the park playing. And then if you start and you look and you're like, okay, wait a minute here. There's a lot more to this story. None of that stuff's ever put in context. And when there is the other part of the story, it's usually the last line. You're like, ooh. SpaceX, also trending. Big time. Huge. Because they've gone to space again. Hence the reason SpaceX. Head on over to Twitter. Earth Day was number 1 the last 24 hours. 2 million plus searches. Terrence Clark declared for the NBA draft. 19 years old. Projected late first, early second round pick. Was killed in a car accident yesterday. Capital gains tax also trending. As is Shock G. And of course, Shock G, for those of you who don't know, was a guy who had a lot of personas. He did. He had a ton of personas. And he was a rapper and a producer. And he had a song that was pretty good in one of those personas.
I'm a freak. I like the girls with the boom. I once got busy in a bathroom. I'm crazy.
Shock G, known as Humpty, Digital Underground, passed away. He's 57 years old. There's another guy in that group, too. Tupac Shakur. He produced a lot of his music. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter is Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
With a tweet
greeting I'm in. Caitlyn Jenner, who is a longtime Republican, is now running for governor of California to unseat Governor Gavin Newsom in a likely recall election like what was seen in 2003 when Governor Gray Davis was recalled and Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor. A growing list of celebrity names like former porn star Mary Carey are all running again. In her announcement, Jenner bashing Governor Newsom for his performance during COVID in California.
I love it. First of all, I can't stand Gavin Newsom, right? Can we just all be straightforward? I'm going to be honest with you. Gavin Newsom is awful. He is the epitome of if you want to say, hey, white privilege, there you go. Secondly, he's run that state sideways into the ground. He's allowed the continual pushing of bizarre, wacky ideas. And then for COVID, just awful. Do as I say, not as I do, on more than a few occasions. And it's been ridiculous. So he was ripe for the taking. So Gray Davis was recalled way back in the day, and I remember that. I remember the you could feel that he was in trouble because the energy crisis in California was awful, and he made it worse by signing away energy prices at ridiculous amounts. So when they were looking at the energy prices back in the day, he was panicking. He was panicking because energy prices were through the roof, gas prices, all of stuff, what was going on. So what ended up happening was he got a lower price locked in, and then the market collapsed, but those people were stuck paying higher prices from other states. It was it was a nightmare. And that was like the end of all the chaos with Gray. Gavin Newsom has to run now against Caitlyn Jenner. So Caitlyn Jenner came out with her announcement via Twitter, because that's what you do now. California's been my home for nearly 50 years. I came here because I knew that anyone, regardless of their background or station in life, could turn their dreams into reality. But for the past decade, we've seen a glimmer of the Golden State reduced to one-party rule that places politics over progress and special interest over people. Sacramento needs an honest leader with a clear vision. Talks about compassion, disruptor. Throughout my life, from representing the United States and winning a gold medal at the Olympics to helping advance the movement for equality. Talks about taxes too high, killing jobs, hurting families, putting an especially heavy burden on the most vulnerable people. I'd vote for her. I'd absolutely vote for her. 100%. But it used to be Bruce Jenner, now it's Caitlyn Jenner's trans. And here's the thing I'm going to tell you people about everything. I don't care what you identify, who you identify. Can you do the job there? Caitlyn Jenner, smart. She's a hell of an investor. She is conservative in a lot of ways, but liberal enough in the old-fashioned liberal ways of, I think, catching people's attention. So it'll be interesting. I'd vote for a rock over Gavin Newsom at this point. We had a run-in once. Let's just say it didn't go well. I got pushed into another room. So there was that. Oh, my goodness. That is just going to be hilarious. I want to see them debate. And the loonies will come out like the porn star. We've had Mr. Cox, who ran against Gavin on the Republican side. I don't know if he's going to get back out there in it again. But this will be very interesting just because of where we are in this day and age. And, yeah, I think there's zero – I would have zero fears with Caitlyn Jenner running a state Well, what about if it was in your state, Arizona? Well, yeah, I got no problem. Can you do the job? That's all I care about. Can you do the job? Are you going to get out of people's way? Are you going to be, it's like, I've always looked at politicians should be like referees. You know the best referees are? No, you don't. That's why they're the best referees. You don't know who they are. Playing sports, as I did, at a pretty high level, especially for the time that I played it as an American, I will tell you this right now. There were times you'd look and see who's the referee, and you're like, because you knew what was coming. You even do it now in the NBA, for God's sakes. You know who you're going to, this guy's the worst. He's going to give the worst fouls. Trust me. Same thing in the NFL. But when you don't talk about a referee, it's because they're doing their job. It's the same thing with politics. Subtle, doing the things they're supposed to, and you never know they're there unless something goes wrong, and they have to be. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. So, Ma'Khia Bryant was shot. People were outraged. LeBron James tweets a picture of the officer with hashtag You're Next and in a one of those sand hour clocks, which was awful.
Now, LeBron James definitely owes this officer an apology. This officer is a hero. But see, what's happening with the left and with LeBron? They want to conflate every case involving only a white officer with a black suspect in a situation where it's racism. This white officer is a racist because he saved the life of a black girl. And when LeBron James goes on TV and says, I'm sick and tired of police officer killing black people, he's a liar.
I said that. I'm like, so if he's a racist, right? So let's just say he's like the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. So he's the Grand Wizard, right? Because that's the way some people can look at him. And the Klan outfit's just a police outfit. So he's the Grand Wizard. And I talked a bit about it yesterday. And Leo Terrell, has some pretty good chops, has a good career as an attorney, an activist, but somebody's not insane. If you save a black person from potential harm or death, and you had to do that by discharging your weapon and killing somebody else who was trying to harm you who also happened to be black, what is that? What does that say? And then for LeBron to do what he did, I'm sorry, I found it to be, I understand that they're going to use their platform. I got no problems with that. And I think they're starting to understand by using the platform, the way that they're using the platform, it is costing them fans and it's costing them, views, and people are turning away, which will eventually cost them money. And then they'll go, uh-oh. But right now it hasn't. But I got zero problems with that, as far as like, if you want to protest, you want to use your platform, that's fine. But don't be mad when people are like, I don't really want to watch it. I love the game, but I just don't feel like the game is the game anymore. I think it's more important about a message than that. And when people have everyday lives where they're struggling to put food on the table, they're working 18 hours a day, which is, 8 to 10 at work, which for a lot of people is at home still, all the while helping their child in school and wondering if tomorrow they're going to have a gig and they would like a couple hours of respite, and sports is what their go-to, and they feel like they're being preached at, then people are going to turn away. But when LeBron did something like this, I just thought to myself, you got to be better than that. You got to be better than that. Well, maybe producer Anthony said, well, I take it as you're next going to be arrested and convicted. And on the other side of things, I took it as it feels like you're the person that's got the bullseye on their back now, nothing to do with courts. Either way, what he did was stupid.
He's a liar when he looks at the fact that there's more black-on-black crime, murders, that he never talks about. How many African Americans have been killed unarmed in 2019? 12. But if you listen to the left, they believe it happens every day and night, day and night. They want to totally dismantle the police department.
Yeah, it's the way things are framed, and the media is part of it. The media, because it's about, can I get you to have an emotion that's going to cause you to click, to watch, to share, to talk to your friends about, to get them fired up about, and the old-fashioned viral way. It's all of those things. Yeah, a young woman was shot, and it was awful. I don't think anybody is disputing that. It was also awful that she felt that she had to pick up a knife, fight with these two other ladies, and then try to stab them. That was awful, too. So, did he save a woman from being harmed or potentially killed, or did he kill a woman? Depends on how you look at things. It depends on how you look at a situation. It's the old adage, right? It's the glass half full or half empty. Depends. For some people, it's always going to be half empty. For others, it's always going to be half full. This outcome, I don't think anybody wanted. In saying that, you know what the lady who was going to get stabbed wanted? Not to get stabbed. It's frustrating. And I love when people say, you're the media. Again, I am not the news. I'm opinion, and I give both sides. You know what the media doesn't do anymore? Give both sides. You know what the media doesn't do anymore? Actually report the story the way the story happened. Because when this was first reported, she was unarmed, and basically some people were like, man, I can't believe this. And then the videos came out. And by the way, there's another video from inside of the cop car talking to the witnesses, and another video across the street of a neighbor. And when you see that, you're like, okay, this doesn't get any better for her. But he's a demon. He's not a hero. He's evil. I think he's a human being who made a choice to cost somebody their life while potentially saving somebody else's life, because that's what he was trained to do. And yeah, it sucks that we don't have, great gunfighters, right? Who can go out there and just, shoot the knife out of her hand. But in a split second, you make a choice. And if you want to change policing and you want to make it friendlier and better, and you want to make it so they're counselors and all of the, which, by the way, they are. And by that, I mean they're drug counselors, marriage counselors. They are referees in disputes over, like, what was yesterday's dispute about? Or the other days? Clean house. How did it get to that point? They are advocates for the homeless, where they have to go out and... They're all of these things now. Tough, I'm telling you guys. And when you think about the interactions going every day across this country, every single day across this country, but much like a shark attack or a large plane crash, unless it's something the news can run with, you want to hear about it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from each and every single one of you. Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what? Caitlyn Jenner running for governor, California. You just got to sit there and go, this right here, this is what it's all about. And I think she's got a chance to win. People are chiming in. No, she doesn't. She has no chance. I think you're going to find out. Caitlyn is, when you go, what up, Bruce, Caitlyn, let's not get into the dead naming this. Here's the deal. Caitlyn Jenner still has, you don't have that desire to just participate. When she does something, as when Bruce did something, it's about winning. And I don't think she would have got into it if she didn't think she could surround herself and put herself in a position where she could win. She's going to... What about Gavin Newsom's thinking today? going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. Sunday night. Are you ready?
I'm not homeless.
Me either.
Will it be Nomadland, the trial of the Chicago 7? We'll find out Sunday night what will win Best Picture at the Oscars. And show producer Jesse Collins says he hopes the in-person telecast will leave viewers with the overwhelming feeling of wanting to return to the multiplex. That after watching, they'll say,
I want to sit next to a stranger and watch a movie.
The theme of this year's show, Bring Your Movie Love. We'll see how that plays out Sunday night on ABC.
So here's one brutally honest Oscar ballot. I love it. Because I'm looking, for the Best Picture. So I'm going here. Who's going to win? Nomadland's going to win, right? It's just, we all know Nomadland's going to win. I'm telling you guys right now, never seen it, know it's going to win. Don't even know what it's about. It's pretty easy. There's two Best Picture things. So you got Nomadland, Judas and the Black Messiah, The Father, Sound of Metal, Minari, Mank, Promising Young Woman, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. Could Judas and the Black Messiah win? It's possible. Minari? Possible. You know how many of these movies I've seen? None. Not a one. Oh, my goodness. Not a one. Not a one. I haven't even heard of some of these. What's The Sound of Metal? Minari is just... But some of these brutally honest things are so funny, like how bad some of these things are. Just devastatingly awful. Mank, Minari, so slow. Oh, goodness me. It just, I don't think I could. So the voters call Mank boring, Trial of Chicago 7 mediocre, Minari excruciatingly slow. Oh, my goodness me. And none of these movies make me want to go sit next to somebody at a theater and who I don't know and watch. None of them. None of one. Godzilla? King Kong? Yeah. Hell, even Mortal Kombat. But Minari, I'm going to give a hard pass. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from you. Got a great text from somebody who basically just told me I was a racist SOB and that I need to die because they are sweet. And by the way, I'm putting that kindly. That's about the most I could say about what they called me. Because, you know, all they see is race. And when all you see is race, everything is going to be racial, racist. It's not a good way to live. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Are you guys ready for it? Are you ready?
With a tweet reading, I'm in, Caitlyn Jenner, who is a longtime Republican, is now running for governor of California to unseat Governor Gavin Newsom in a likely recall election like what was seen in 2003 when Governor Gray Davis was recalled and Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor. A growing list of celebrity names like former porn star Mary Carey are all running again. In her announcement, Jenner bashing Governor Newsom for his performance during COVID in California.
She's running for governor. Only in America. Hope she wins. Are you making facetious, Chad? I feel like you're making fun of her. I'm not. Not. How beautiful our country is. How beautiful our country. Think about this for a second, right? This is our country. It's how beautiful it is. I know a lot of you think that it's the worst place on earth. That's all this is. It's just, don't listen to the reporting. right? Don't listen to the news. The news will spin things the way that they want you to hear it and what they want you to hear based on the audience they're trying to reach and the emotions they're trying to evoke. But only in America. So you got Bruce Jenner, winner of the decathlon. 76. He's it. 76. Oh, my God. Oh, the Wheaties box, all of those things. Everything. Flash forward. Gets married. Having to deal with all of that stuff. With all of those things like social media because of the family he married into, the Kardashians. Then makes a huge choice and decides that he's always been a woman and becomes Caitlyn Jenner. And now has decided to run for governor of California. It's America, baby. That's surreal, crazy, wacky, and awesome. Good luck. Because the governor that's in there now is useless. And for those of you guys think, well, what's this have to do with us? I live in a different state. California's the 5th largest economy in the globe. A lot of things that come through California get to other places. So having somebody who could go in there and actually potentially set California on a path that it used to be on, I think could benefit a lot of people. And if you're worried about California up your state, maybe somebody like Caitlyn Jenner would keep people in California because, well, a lot of people are leaving. I live here in Arizona, and let me tell you something. Housing prices are through the roofs. Why? Because the neighbors are all coming over and go, I think we'd rather live here. Texas, same thing. You're seeing it. I mean, everybody's saying the same thing. Don't California my state. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. So the CDC has to figure out what they're going to do with Johnson & Johnson. Oh, no way. Yes. How dangerous is it? Remind us again.
This is a 1 in a million kind of risk that has been identified of this rare blood clotting problem.
1 in a million. 1 in a million. Will they release it today? Will they say, all right, you know what? We're going to kind of have to just let it go. At this point, we're looking at this. It's 1 in a million. Us sitting around and saying, does the potential outweigh the benefits? Does the potential of this thing, the 1 in a million, which are pretty good odds, I think most of us would take those odds. And by the way, the 1 in a million doesn't mean that if you got a blood clot, you're going to die. Let's just also remember the chances of you getting a blood clot are like 16 times higher if you caught COVID than take this. So I think they'll unpause it because that'd be silly not to.
The health officials here who are making this decision today are in a tough spot, trying to put safety first, but at the same time, trying not to scare Americans away from using these vaccines.
No. Why would you scare Americans away from using the vaccines? Well, we're trying not to. Well, I think the way that you went at it and the media went at it was probably not great. But it's silly. If it's a 1 in a million chance, it means 1 in a million chance. Those odds are pretty darn good. And remember, Johnson & Johnson to me has always been the game changer because it is a one shot. One and done. Do you have any people I work with who've gotten a shot and they've all come back and said, God, what'd you get? Moderna, Pfizer. What's wrong with that? I got to go back. People want the one and done. They want the one and done. They do. Because we are a nation of convenience, and the more that we can have a convenient way of doing things, the better it is for all of us. Because, as we know, if I have to go somewhere, not once but twice, take times out of my day to do certain things, I'm not a fan of that. I don't think anybody else is. But if I'm walking at Target, at a supermarket, at Walmart or a pharmacy, and I happen to say, oh, we have shots available, I'm more apt to go there and just go, oh, yeah, I'll take the shot and move on. Oh, yeah, that is true. That's very true. So I've always said it's the game changer. So the 1 in a million, I think we should all say it. All right, let's move on. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. The other side of things is the mask, right? The masking thing is just, can we just all talk about the stupidity of mask? And I'm not talking about inside of stores, but some of the stuff of outside, okay, we're going to do this, but everybody's got to wear masks. Like the Dodgers. Okay, here's my thing. Dodgers are going to open up a section that is going to be for vaccinated people only. But everybody's got to wear a mask. So my question is, so we're all vaccinated. And if kids come and they can't get the vaccine, if they have a negative test within 72 hours, and apparently they'll ship you the test, you take it. If that's true, and they're going to test negative, show up. So you're telling me everybody's vaccinated, I'm outdoors, and the kids that aren't vaccinated have all tested negative, yet I still have to wear a mask. To me, that just sounds ridiculous.
If you're walking alone or you're not around other people outside or you're with your own family, you do not have to be masked. But I do think that they're going to go further and basically say that most people don't have to mask when they're outside.
Which is the smart thing to do. I haven't masked when I'm outside. I'm going to go hit golf balls, as I do every single day, because I'm working on my game, baby. I'm working on my game. Today's big day. It's going to be irons. I'm going to hit it's going to be just wedges in from like 100. But you know what? I'll wear a mask inside. The other day I forgot to. Now they see me every day. I actually had the mask in my hand. And he's like, dude, I'm fine with that. We're at the point now. It's like, it's kind of optional. I'm standing behind plexiglass wearing a mask. And I was laughing about that. But I go, and then I go out, and I'm outside and hitting golf balls by myself, nobody within X amount of. Why would I wear a mask? Even though there are people next to me, several feet, we're all hitting golf balls, why would I wear a mask? I go for a walk, why would I wear a mask? Well, the mask thing is the thing that drives, I think, everybody crazy. And the reason is, it's a constant reminder that we're still going through this, and it feels like it's never ending. And that for a lot of people, psychologically, they don't think things are getting any better.
If you're in a crowded area where you can't distance, especially if you're unvaccinated, maybe you're with someone who may be high risk across the table from you in a short range, I still think there will be a place for masking outside. But most situations, I think we're going to be able to rip the mask off.
Good. Rip it off. Throw it up. Throw it up in the air. Mary Tyler Moore. Woo! And now they want to get rid of the theater. So if you guys don't know what what they call COVID theater is when you overdo everything, right? You're wearing two masks. When you wash something down, it's like you're taking it, you're putting bleach on it and all this stuff, and you got all the wipies and stuff. They say you don't really need to do that. The COVID theater really doesn't have to happen anymore because it's the airborne side of things. It's not going to live on something like they thought. People still doing it, though. COVID theater. And I've always asked, it's like, it goes back to it. Does it help reduce some things? I'm sure it does. Does it help reduce it the way that maybe people think? I'm sure if we all had those N95s and we knew how to wear them properly, because most of us don't wear a mask properly, because we just throw it on, anything to make everybody else feel better. That's kind of what this is. The placebo effect, if you will. Wear a mask. So I'm around a bunch of people. At a game, we've all been vaccinated. I still have to wear a mask. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Love hearing from all of you. Masterclass, the best thing And I'm telling you guys, if you like learning, like me, I'm curious about everything. Because the older I get, here's what I know. The less I know. Well, that's weird. No, that's the reality. The older I get, the less I know. Because there's so much more to know. And something leads you to another thing. So what Masterclass is this amazing program. You can watch it on any of your smart devices, smart TV, the whole 9 yards, and you can learn about everything from voiceovers with Nancy Cartwright. She's the voice of, yes, are you guys ready? Bart Simpson and many others. How about basketball from the likes of, Stephen Curry, or maybe how to negotiate with arguably the FBI's greatest negotiator, Chris Voss. But it's not just that. It's music, it's art, it is writing, it is history. Interior design, cooking, you name it, they're going to teach you. Martin Scorsese, Judd Apatow, Helen Mirren, Judy Blume. We can go on and on. Malcolm Gladwell, who I just love. His stuff is beyond interesting. It's about 20 lessons per class, right? So in each of the little classes inside those lessons, they're like 10-minute vignettes, sometimes a little longer, sometimes a little shorter, and they're amazing. And whether you're just curious about everything or you'd like to hyper-focus, this is for you. It's Masterclass. It's 41 cents a day. That's what it breaks down to. It's an annual membership. Sign up today. Masterclass.com/Benson. Save an extra 15%. Masterclass.com/Benson. Masterclass.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
No need to socially distance while listening to your Chad Benson Show podcast. 4 out of 5 experts say so.
I'm a scientist. There is no corona.
But hurry before they change their mind. You know they will. Chad's podcast found on iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, and wherever you find your favorite COVID-free podcasts.
Oh my gosh. I kind of like it. I'm not going to lie.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
I just love that. I kind of like it.
The president is reportedly going to propose a major tax increase on the most wealthy and wealthy investors. The White House isn't talking about the details or specifics just yet. They say this is all still in flux, but they are stressing the president's commitment not to raise taxes on anyone making less than $400,000 a year.
The investor thing will be interesting because the market got really nervous, rightly so, on what they're talking about investing and why that's important to you. Because if you have a 401k and they say to themselves, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go out and raise capital gains taxes. So capital gains taxes are much different. They're not taxed as ordinary income. So if you invest and you make your money in the investment world, you're not essentially charged the same taxes. So if you you buy a stock at $1, it goes to $10. I'm just using simple math here for everybody to understand. And, or $1 million, let's just say. So that way we get, so $1 million. Right now, it's taxed at 20%. So you'd make $800,000 after you pay your taxes. So your profit, might be $1 million almost, but after taxes, you walk away with $8. What they're proposing, from what people are saying, is raising that to 39.6. So essentially, you'd be high, so 40%. But then you got state taxes and the whole 9 yards. So in some places, it could be as high as 60% your taxes. So you made $1 million, but you paid 60%. Well, that's okay. They're making a ton of money. So what's that do? Investors go, well, I don't want to do this, so we're going to move our money elsewhere. Or we just won't take our money out, and it'll sit there, and we won't move it around. We won't sell it. It'll just remain there, or we'll move it to other places and take it out of the stock market. Your 401k then ends up taking it in the shorts. Because why? Because the marketplace itself slows down or starts to go backwards. You don't want that. Do I think he's going to do that? I do not. I think he's going to say, yeah, no, I don't think we can do that. Maybe we can take it to 25%, but taking it up to 40%, while the progressives may like that and isn't a good thing. But we got to pay for all this stuff. We do have to pay for all this stuff. Maybe it's a value-added tax somewhere small. Maybe they're going to try to figure out ways to come up with this. But when you start doing certain things and they think, well, we're just going after the wealthy here, you don't understand the repercussions down the road and the trickle-down effect of what if your 401k lost 35-40%? Oh, well, that wouldn't be good. No. So when people say it doesn't really affect me, it does. It just does, in fact, affect you in the momentary thing. But you've got to look, yes, long term, but also you have to look at if you're getting ready to retire. That'd be terrifying if your 401k took a huge dip. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
That fast. Ma'Khia Bryant, dead, age 16, shot by an officer. He's white, she's black. How did it happen? Somebody called the police. There was a disturbance. Women were fighting. It escalated to the point where she picked up a knife. And depending on who you talk to, she was the aggressor or she was the victim and just defending herself. When the police officer pulls up, all he knows is there's a domestic disturbance where women are fighting. Does he know she's 16? Does she know the other ladies are her foster sisters, I guess? Because she's in a foster home? No, she doesn't know any of those things. They're fighting over what? It's got to be something big, right? No, it's the house was a mess, and one of the girls remarked that, you better clean this house, something to that nature, because, Mom doesn't like a dirty house. And apparently it escalated from there. So it went from point 00001 to redlining like that. Officer pulls up, a fight ensues. Before that, he's coming into the tail end of a situation where he sees one lady, as he gets out the car, she gets knocked down. And then a 43-year-old gentleman decides, hey, I'm going to kick that one in the head, or wherever he thumped her. And then from there, Mrs. Bryant has a knife and is heading towards a woman who is in the driveway. That woman can't go anywhere because she is stuck between Bryant, who has a knife, and a car, with her back against a door. And from the time the officer arrived to the time all of that took place, maybe 15, 20 seconds.
Suppose you pulled the gun out and the gun had jammed. Would you just stood there? Or would you have gone over there, closed the distance, and done something? Law enforcement around the world, they don't have guns in the first place. Now, in our country, we got an armed citizenry. You have to have an armed police force. I understand that. But just understand that if you're in the UK, somebody has a knife, you're trained to get the knife away from them without shooting them. They come at you with a stick, a bottle. Our officers are trained mainly on weapons because that's where we are at.
So that's the UK. Last statistics I have, almost 21,000 operations involving armed police in the United Kingdom. Fatal shootings were low because when you show up and you have somebody with a gun and they have a knife, and that's going to be very low. Very low in fatal shootings. Why? Because they're, okay, I brought a knife to a gunfight. This isn't going to work. Now, a knife killing other people, we're not talking about that. Oh. Now, so, again, we're looking at something where these are different. All of these things are not the same. The shooting that took place with this officer is not what happened with George Floyd. This was a split-second decision like that. A split-second decision. You can look at it two ways. He killed a black woman or potentially saved a black woman's life. That was it. That's the way you look at that. Well, no, it's a lot more. No. The reality is you can have all the social workers you want, right? Imagine this, right? Like this incident alone. I'm going to paint a picture. I think it's easy for people to understand. It's always about diffusing an incident. Who diffuses stuff? Bomb people, right? So you have bomb disposal units. If I show up and I'm the bomb disposal unit, I'm the guy that is going to defuse this, right? I'm that person. And I show up and I have 15 seconds to try to defuse something that is completely complex. How do you think that's going to go? Just curious. It's not going to go well. It's not. No, exactly. That's what this was. This wasn't a person who'd been there for 15, 20 minutes trying to calm everybody down. He arrived, had to make a choice.
But just imagine a world where whatever that cop would have done if the gun didn't work, that was his first go-to instead of his second. That's the only thing that we're asking. We just want our kids to have the same opportunity to survive their dumbest mistakes as every other kid has. That's all we're asking for.
Okay. That sounds great. Who doesn't want that? But, okay, so I pick up a knife and I try to stab somebody. Is that a mistake? Or was that a choice? Well, now, Chad, stop it. I mean, that's fair. Was that a mistake or was that a choice? She was seeing red for whatever reason. Now, I don't know what the sisters are going to say or the foster sisters are going to say about this. Apparently, they fought all the time. I don't know what they're going to say about this. But all that being said, a mistake was, dude, I'm sorry. I was backing the car out and I hit like a fire hydrant and I'm sorry. I made a mistake. So, that's a mistake. Right? Like that's an oops. That's an accident. I made a mistake. In today's world of tweeting, everybody apparently makes mistakes about everything. It's a mistake. I thought it sounded better in my head, or you don't understand, but it was a mistake. It was okay. And you picked up a knife. That's not a mistake. And by the way, you weren't standing there. You brought the knife out to the outdoors.
We need to invest in non-police or other community-trained unarmed crisis response. I can't help but think what would happen if we had social workers present, if we had community-based interventionists present. Now, currently in Columbus, Ohio, we do have a mobile crisis response team. And that's where a mental health specialist is paired with an officer and shows up on scene. And they are able to diffuse some of those situations when residents are in the midst of a crisis.
Okay. They're able to do that. But that wasn't this situation. It had gone past that. Now, all that being said, there are questions about how we go and start to really reshape policing in a way that it's safer for police, in the way that de-escalation is the number one thing. And if you ask police officers, de-escalation is the number one thing that they want to do. Cops would love to go through their day doing nothing, right? They would love to go through their day where they don't have to worry about, is somebody going to shoot me? Am I going to make it home tonight? They would love that. But that isn't the world we live in. So how do we make things safer for everybody, including the police officers? Yeah, we have to figure out how we modernize policing. Absolutely. Give them more tools, not just tools where we're going to arm them with counselors, but give them stuff that's less lethal, but at the same time is able to do a job, because you're not going to give police officers less lethal things, take away the things that they need, and send them on the street and said, we know they're going to have stuff that can kill you, but here's something that can wound them potentially. That's ridiculous. So how do we do this? And what happens if you're a counselor, crisis intervention person who goes out to these things, and you're like, the police officers are, well, you go de-escalate it first. Well, what if they have a gun or a knife? Well, that's a you thing now. No, we can't do that either. These are the issues that we're going to have. We got to work together. And at the same time, we have to also look at society. Why is it that she felt she needed to pick up a knife? Why is it that a 13-year-old boy decides he wants to be in a gang, hangs out with a 21-year-old who shouldn't have a gun, and shoots a gun off in the middle of the night at 2:30 when he should be sleeping, getting ready for school? Why is that the police officer's fault? These are all questions we should ask. And when the cop gets shot and killed, I never hear Van Jones going there, well, that's we can't have these things. No, it's never talked about. This isn't us versus them. It's us coming up with a better solution. That's the way we have to look at this. But all parties have to look at, what can I do to make this situation better? Not just, you change, I'm not going to change, you work around whatever it is that I do. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you guys. Some of the stuff that I've gotten, by the way, is just hilarious. Some of the stuff that we get from people are just the hatred. Can't have conversations. One thing I've always known in life, and we're just listening to Malcolm Gladwell. And so if you guys don't know who Malcolm Gladwell is, he does a masterclass, one of the great just writers and thinkers, talking about, though, how people are critical and they get angry and horrible and they say horrific things, and that, too many people stew on those things. And I never really do, because, but I'm always curious about why people are so angry about everything all the time. Why is that? Like, why are you so angry that you have to tell somebody horrific things, call them horrific things? Like, that's the first place you go to. You're not interested in having a debate, even an argument, let alone a conversation. Your just first reaction in life is to just lash out. And I've always thought to myself, usually when that happens, it's because you've struck a nerve, because something in there juxtaposed their position and did so in such a way that it also made them think that their position may not be 100% right, or may even be wrong. And their first instinct is to lash out because they can't defend their position in something. And then the other side of it is, some people are just a-holes. That's it. They're gripe about everything. You can give the greatest breakfast, pancakes, eggs, and it could be perfect, and everybody else gives it a 10, and they're still going to hate it because they're more interested in being miserable and passing that on to everybody. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Let's talk a little heart health and a little body positivity. Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
Les McEwen died yesterday. Many people probably don't know him, but you know that song. He was the lead singer of the Bay City Rollers. And Bay City Rollers were the first boy band, first boy pop band, arguably at the time, big as the Beatles for their era. They sold 120 million albums. Never talk about them like as being one of the great, but he died. It was very interesting. If you know nothing about him, you know how much money they made? So 120 million albums sold. Think about that. 120 million albums. To date, they've probably each members maybe made from royalties $500,000. Money disappeared. Money was on offshore investments where nobody could get to it for years. I've always found it to be interesting. And last year they settled for the last time, which they thought they could get. It was just they got about $85,000 each. But when you think about it, you had 10 number ones, you sold 120 million albums, and when all is said and done, after a 40-year period, you essentially made $12,000 plus a year from your royalties of all your albums. Yeah, that would sting. That would sting. But if you want to blame somebody for boy bands, them's the cats right there. Heart study. You ready?
The size of your belly and extra weight around the abdomen, even if it's not enough to technically make you obese, led to increased risk of heart disease and risk of death from heart attack. This is independent of what overall body weight was. The American Heart Association reviewed more than 300 studies. They found losing weight by diet and exercise did not reduce the risk, but weight loss surgery did. The studies in the medical journal Circulation.
Yeah, so even if you work out according to them, and it's just sounds like some of that extra weight that's around there. Plus, there's a lot of other things that go into it. You know, do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you have a history of heart disease? All of those things are relevant. And genes, by the way, for those of you not keeping score, somebody has better genes. And no matter what happens, they could smoke and drink and do stuff, and they'll tell you that those people are just going to live longer. Something, their genes, they're going to live longer. No matter how healthy your lifestyle is, you can extend some things. But for some people, it's just strictly genes. But in a day and age when we talk about weight and the body positivity,
I really don't understand why I can't just exist in my body.
Now that body positivity has been co-opted by all bodies, and people are finally celebrating medium and small girls and people who occasionally get roles. Fat people are still getting the short end. We're still getting shit on. We're still getting talked about, memed, shamed. No one cares anymore because it's like body positivity is for everybody. Yes, please be positive about your body. Please use our movement to empower yourself.
They got the short end of the stick, but the last piece of pizza. Oh, chat again with your anger. It's not over, though.
Yes, please be positive about your body. Please use our movement to empower yourself. That's the point. But the people who created this movement, big women, big brown and black women, queer women, are not benefiting from the mainstream success of it. Our bodies are none of your business. Our health is none of your business. All we ask is that you keep that same energy with these medium girls that you praise. Keep the same energy.
Lizzo's a little upset there. Makes me laugh. So angry all the time. Okay, I get your body's none of my business, which is fine. Then stop showing everybody your body 24/7 and then talking about it. Because you seem to make it one of everybody's business by saying, don't look at me, but look at me. Have a good weekend. Let's come back Monday and have some fun, shall we? Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.